I always have to preface anything I do about music by saying I am not a music expert. There is a lot about the music industry I don't know and don't necessarily care for because I'm a film reviewer. I love musicals, soundtrack, easy listening. I also very much love Debbie Reynolds, and I thought I would like to discuss some of her albums and some of her songs, not because I'm a music expert, but because I do love Debbie Reynolds. So if I say anything that doesn't sound very professional, that's why. The American Christmas album is as it sounds. It's an album of Christmas songs sung by Debbie Reynolds. This was released, I believe, in 1975, and the album artwork gives it a kind of rustic, traditional feel. And there are some, the majority of the songs on this are very traditional. There were a couple I didn't really care for. And the only thing about this that I wasn't that big a fan of is that there are a lot of harmonies from children. And it works for one or two songs, but for the most part, I just felt like saying, please be quiet. Let me listen to Debbie Reynolds singing. But it's not so severe that I can't enjoy it. There are some really beautiful songs on this. So I'm just going to go through the songs and tell you what I think of them, but I'm more interested in what you think. This album is on YouTube. You can listen to the full thing, and I strongly suggest you do, regardless of what time of year it is, because it is beautiful. So the first one is called Christmas Spirit, and there are actually two songs on this that I hadn't heard of, and that's one of them. This is one with a lot of children singing, so for me it's not the best introduction to the album. I kind of just skim past that one. It's not a bad song, it's just not what I want from this CD or album. How old am I? The second one is one of my favourite carols, and this is Away in a Manger. This has a bit more spirit and soul than the traditional nativity song, and while I'm not a fan of the children's harmonies, I do think Debbie's vocals are absolutely gorgeous. Maybe not my favourite rendition of Away in a Manger, but it's very sweet and just so gentle, very lovely. The next song is A Little Town of Bethlehem, which is actually one of my all-time favourite Christmas songs. And the pacing of this one is beautiful. The melody is a little bit more gentle than what you would get in, say, a primary school nativity. And some of Debbie's emphasis is really sweet and not what I'm used to with this song. So it was a really nice interpretation and very pleasant. The next one is called The Christmas Song, and I thought, what on earth is that? And then it began, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, and I had no idea that that's what that was called. This song is very warm, very gentle. This is how I feel this song should be sung. The weird thing about this is that it's so gentle. It kind of caresses you and strokes you, and it's almost subliminal. It's in the background. It's so easy to listen to this and then forget that you're listening to it because it's quite subtly sung and very soft, and I love that. So when you focus on it, it's just like being hugged. I love it. Silent Night is perfect and probably my favourite on this album. Not necessarily my favourite Christmas song, but my favourite of Debbie's Christmas album. I can't really say this without singing, and I'm not going to do that to you. Like when she says holy, the holy night, when she elongates those O's, it's so beautiful and breathtaking. Her voice is powerful yet subtle, and she gets that balance really wonderfully, and I could just listen to her all day. As I said, this is my favourite on this album. It's gorgeous. We have another one that I hadn't heard of. Actually, I think there were three I hadn't heard of. This one is called Home for the Holidays. I actually quite liked the children's harmonies in this one. It added a little something different. I've heard the song a few times now because I've obviously listened to the album a few times. I don't feel like this would ever be a classic Christmas song, and I don't feel like it fits in with the rest of the album. Maybe it is, and I just haven't heard of it. But for me, it's never going to be one I'm going to actually choose to listen to. The next one is Deck the Halls, which is one of my favourites. And this is the first song on the album that has a real power and strength and might to it. And I love the instruments. I can't identify them all, but I love the instrumental parts are so stunning. They are really beautiful. Debbie has some great little staccato tones. The song is so uplifting. It's just a really lovely vocal performance for Deck the Halls, and exactly how I like this song to be sung. The next one is the last one that I hadn't heard of, and it's called Arms of Friendship. It's quite a funky tune. It's quite a juvenile song. It feels like something that would be on Saturday morning kids' TV. Not my favourite song on the album, and didn't feel Christmassy. If it was on one of her other albums, which it might be off the top of my head, I don't believe it is, I might have liked it more, but for me it's just really out of place. What Child of This is the next one, and this is really interesting because it's sung to the tune of Greensleeves. I'm not really familiar with this song. It's quite melancholic, but very beautiful. Also very uplifting, but also really humbling. I feel like this, although I hadn't really heard of the song, I feel like it really deserves a spot on this album, and it really makes you feel good about life and about yourself and about doing good for other people. It is a very humbling song. Debbie also covers Christmas Tree, and I do love Oh Christmas Tree, but I tend to prefer it with a male voice, something a bit lower, tenor or baritone. But it's fun and it's beautiful. There's a little bit of kind of liveliness to it, but it's a little bit somber as well. There's a good balance there. Not my favourite, but I would happily listen to Debbie singing Christmas Tree. First Noel is the penultimate, and I wish the album ended here, and I'll obviously mention why when I discuss the next one. But Debbie's intonations are perfection here, and it's so beautifully sung. I love this version. It has to be one of my favourite renditions of the First Noel ever. It really is very gorgeous. And unfortunately, the last one is a song that I love, but I don't like how this one's been put together. We Wish You a Merry Christmas. This is exceptionally juvenile. It sounds like a children's sing-along version. And obviously because there are children's harmonies here, there is a little bit of something in here for the children. And I guess it's a family-friendly album. I'll give it that credit. But it does just feel like it's a children's sing-along version of We Wish You a Merry Christmas. So I wasn't really fond of that. I'd like to just end this album at the First Noel. But in all, I mean, the album is beautiful. Even if we take away the ones that I wasn't a big fan of, we are left with In A Manger, Little Town of Bethlehem, The Christmas Song, Silent Night, Deck the Halls, Christmas Tree, and First Noel, which is a beautiful selection from a beautiful woman with a beautiful voice. I'm really happy with an American Christmas album. I am British, if you haven't worked that out, but it is lovely, quite traditional, and just perfect for losing yourself in any time of the year.